Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to learn how to make this cute parrot cake topper. So I've got some red fondant and I'm just going to roll it into a bit of an egg shape, and then I'm just going to arch the back slightly so it's got a bit of a belly sticking out. And then with a straw that I've just flattened a little bit, I'm going to go around the shape that I've just made and just sort of push half of the bottom of the straw onto the fondant, and this is just going to create a look of some feathers. It's just a really quick way of doing it. And then after that I'm going to roll some black fondant and we're going to make the bottom of the beak. Now it's quite a weird shape, it's kind of like a sausage and then it's flat at one side, and quite rounded at the other, so flat and pointy at one side. And then for the top of the beak, we're going to roll a teardrop shape and we're going to flatten it down slightly and we're just going to curve the end over. So you can see that's the kind of shape that we're looking for. And then we're going to fit them both together, pushing the white onto the black. And you want the white to come slightly at the side, over the side of the black. Then we're going to roll a ball of red and we're going to flatten it at the bottom. Now these kind of remind me of the Star Wars people that are like this. Is it the stormtroopers? But obviously in red. That's the kind of shape that you're going for, this Darth Vader helmet type look. And we're going to flatten the front of it. Now the front of it is where the beak is going to sit, and you're just going to pull down the back a little bit because this is going to be for the feathers. We've got a cocktail stick through the middle and we're just going to wet that with a little bit of water and we're going to pop the head on there. Now the reason I'm doing it like that is I just want to check the size and just to make sure that it fits well onto the body that we've got. And so just with the ball tool we're going to squash the nose in a little bit and a little bit of water, and then we're just going to push the nose, or the beak should I say, into the front of the face. Now you might have to curl the top of the beak again just to come down, and then we're going to mark in some feathers at the bottom. Now I'm doing this whilst the head's still on there so that I'm not damaging anything, and I want to see how it fits on together whilst I'm doing it as well. And we're going to do the feathers around the face the same way as we've just done with the body. Now I'm using Saraceno modelling paste, so it is quite firm, so you should be able to handle this and these marks not come out. We're going to pinch either side of the beak, and this is where our eyes are going to go. You're only pinching very lightly, it doesn't need to be too firm. Some little nostrils in the beak. So I've rolled some white fondant out. Now these are what I've just flattened with my fingers, and I'm just pushing into a bit of a shape where they're kind of like a really rounded triangle. And I'm just going to trim off the excess from the bottom to make the bottom bit just a bit more sharp. And then these are going to be what we're going to put to be the eyes for the bird. So obviously there's one either side, just a tiny little bit of water to stick them on. We want to be trying to get them roughly in the same space on each eye. And same with the other side. And then just with the Dresden tool, the kind of like rounded side of the Dresden tool, we're just going to go over the corners. We don't want the corners to be too sharp, they just need to be a little bit rounded. Like so. And then with the ball tool in the middle, almost towards the beak area rather than in the middle of the white bit. And we're just going to make some more circles, and this is where our colours are going to start to sit. So we're going to do grey first. Now I've taken the liberty of flattening these before I put them in the eye, but I will still go over with my ball tool just to put an indentation for the next piece that we put in there, but also just to make the grey a little bit bigger as well. I'm going to repeat the process again with some white, and again with the ball tool just spreading that white out. And then with the smaller ball tool just going in where we're going to put the black. And the same thing again with the other side. ball tool in where we're going to put the black, and then the same with the black. We're going to use the ball tool just to spread out the black a little bit as well, and the same with the other side. We've got some tiny white dots now, and these are just for the light reflectant in the eye. So you should have something that looks like that. So next we're going to do the feet. So I've just got some grey fondant. I'm rolling some little sausages that are pointy either end, and then I'm just going to cut these in half, and this is going to create our feet. So we want 3 on each side, and I'm just going to run my knife around the tip to kind of separate the end of the nail from the middle of the nail, and then I'm just going to create some lines just to kind of make them look a bit wrinkly. So we're going to roll the tip to create the separation, and then just put the lines in. We're going to do that with all 6 of these, and then we're going to group them together in groups of 3. So just pushing them together, and then with a little bit of water, we're just going to put our parrot on top of that. So next we're going to do the tail for the parrot. So a little bit of red fondant, and we're just going to create the feathers at the end, and then the same process as before, just to create the feathers. We're going to trim off, come into a little bit of a point at the end, and we're going to repeat the process, but this time with blue and a lot shorter. So pulling those in and going over just to create the feathers. Now this is going to go, I would say, halfway down. I'm going to trim off the excess from the top, and again we're going to do it with the red. So the red is just about half of the blue as well. We're going to still put in those little lines and just trim it again, just to make it fall back in line with that V shape, so it's wider at the bottom than it is at the top. And we're going to stick this on. I've put a little bit of water on there, and I'm just using this modelling tool. I don't know what it's called, but it's really good for just sort of like blending in. Next we're going to do the wings at the side of the bird. And so you're just going to roll kind of like a teardrop shape, and then we're just going to flatten it with our fingers. And we're going to replicate this for the other side. So they want to be slightly long, that they're trailing on the floor. And then we're just going to curve it outwards and then mark in the bottom of the feathers. And then again going over with our straw. And then with some green, we're going to do the same again. Now building it up like this is going to give the wings sort of like a padded effect on the top. So it just adds to the shape of the bird. If you did this and it was like all one piece of fondant, or pieces of fondant joined together, you kind of wouldn't get that bulky bit that gives the wings a bit of a rounded shape at the top. We're going to go in with some red. Exactly the same process, just a lot smaller. And we're going to pop this on at the edge just so there's a little bit of green showing through. So you can see there, it's quite rounded at the top. I'm going to push that in, making sure that the blue is flicking out a little bit to the side. And I'm just using my Dresden tool just to push that in at the top and kind of blend it in a little bit. You may have to go over it again with the straw. We're going to do the same for the other side. So from this angle you can see that bulge at the top there, kind of like he's wearing some shoulder pads. And then we're just going to do the head, the hair on the top. So again, some sausages that are pointy at one side, and we're going to build these up from the biggest to the smallest. Now I used 5, you could use 3, however many you feel, and I just started to point mine up at the top a little bit. So this is what it should look like when you're finished, and here's the cake that I used it on. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, please click the links on the screen now. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching.